Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. I'm G Talk to Arsenal, your host for this evening's stream, and I'm joined by Lottie. How are you doing, Lottie?
Yeah, I'm all right. As you can see, got a bit of wet hair. Finished work a bit late today. Upset my boss, which was even more fun. I opened as soon as 5:15 came. I opened a bottle of wine while I was sitting in a Teams meeting.
Friday feeling.
Yeah, I turned around and said, "You're on my time now. I'm not on your time. I can do what I want."
That's it. And
he started laughing, and he says, and then he actually had a beer. He was drinking a beer out of a mug. So it was good fun.
There you go. If you can never do it, you can always do it on a Friday. Do you know what I mean? That's the way forward. Like have a quick drink before the weekend.
But he'd been drinking the whole meeting.
Yeah.
So
brilliant. But yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. I had a pretty chilled out day, to be honest. Usually, I'm kind of busy at the top end of the week, latter part of the week, everything kind of quietens down. So yeah, I had a pretty chilled day. Just kind of preparing for tonight's show. Obviously, looking forward to the game tomorrow. And obviously, guys in the chat, those that are viewing, that's why we're here for tonight's show. We're looking ahead to tomorrow's away game at Brighton, a 5:30 kickoff. So yeah, that's what we'll basically be going through. So we'll be talking about all things Arsenal, and obviously, covering the preview to tomorrow night's game. So I think what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to run the intro video, and then we will get started.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal, your host, and I'm here with Lottie. We've kind of done our little introductions in terms of how our days have been. Obviously, looking forward to tonight's live stream. Those of you who are watching, drop a comment, drop a little kind of good evening, a little hello. Let us know that you're there and you're watching the stream. But yeah, so tonight's show, we're literally going to be previewing the Brighton versus Arsenal game. Obviously, it's a big game. We've won 4 on the bounce now. This will be the 5th game that we're literally moving towards, and hopefully we'll win. I think everybody keeps reminding me that it is game 5 of 8. Lottie,
do you know what reminds me? I really wanted to do this the other week. I was going to say to you a bit like we're halfway there, like the song. That's all that's been playing in my in my head every time I think about it. And like, was that Bon Jovi? It was Bon Jovi, wasn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I know the song. I know the song you're talking about, but yeah, I couldn't tell you.
It's Living on a Prayer, and then it's Bon Jovi. It's Living on a Prayer, and it's still the big heavy guitar stuff. So.
So yeah, massive game. Obviously the season didn't start, how we wanted it to start. With 3 losses, but since then, we've definitely, somewhat turned the corner. I've not been completely convinced by it, but obviously every victory that goes by, even the most hardened, Arsenal fans or the most unconvinced Arsenal fans, can't help but get a little bit excited. We've won 4 games on the bounce, 3 in the league, 1 in the cup. So looking ahead to Brighton, it's definitely a winnable game. So yeah, we'll be obviously most of the show will be previewing the Brighton versus Arsenal game, but we'll also be touching upon some other kind of happenings around the club before we get onto the game. So just want to go through some comments because I see them flying in already. Some good evenings and some hellos. Good evening, Swarat. We've got Matt. Good evening, boys and girls. Good evening. We've also got Barry. Hi, Barry.
That's a new name, G.
Barry Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I think that's
feel like I recognise that name.
I haven't seen
Barry, let us know if you're new to the stream. I feel like I recognise it, but I could be wrong. But yeah, welcome if you are new. And if you're not, welcome back. Good to have you. Swery, I am keeping account of our wins. I know you are, Swery. I know you are. You joined in with the whole.
Tarek knows.
You've joined in with the whole. It's 4 wins. It's 5 wins. I know. Don't worry. If anybody's keeping track of the wins, it's me. Trust me. But yeah, Joseph Connor Golden. Come on, you Gunners. Big up Lottie G. I know who you want to start tomorrow. El Sideways, Messi.
Well, he won't even make it into this team with Zambia around. Come on,
really
Joseph. Let's be real.
But we will talk lineups a little bit later in the show. Weezy J, good evening, guys. Hope you're all good. We're all good. I hope you are too, bro. And yeah, so got a few more just popped in before I move on. Ross, evening from at Hampton Gooner. Good evening.
Yeah, I've been chatting to Ross over the last few days. He's one of my new followers. Welcome, Ross.
Lottie is spot on. Barry Fitzpatrick, new to the show, started following Lottie on Twitter.
Wicked. Welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy tonight. We should have some fun.
Definitely. So yeah, before we move on to obviously the Arsenal game against Brighton tomorrow at 5:30 kickoff, we are going to touch upon like just some other stuff that's going on in and around the club. And I'm going to bring up this picture, and I'll explain when the picture comes up the relevance of what's going on here. So the England squad was announced, and obviously for copywriting issues, just want to say this image was taken from the official England account when obviously they announced the England squad sometime yesterday. I believe it came out, and I know not all of you have an interest in the England squad or particularly when the England squads are announced, but nevertheless, we want to have a little look at it just because it does affect some of our Gooner family in terms of our players. So we're not going to go through the whole squad, but obviously the squad was announced, Lottie. And I think, first and foremost, the one thing that I think most Gooners noticed through obviously tweets and stuff like that was the inclusion of our star boy Saka, which I think most Arsenal fans expected, but also Aaron Ramsdale. So Arsenal's new number one was also, brought up to the England side. So in terms of those two players in particular, any surprises with regards, them being selected in the team, and just kind of generally, how do you feel about their selection for obviously the two qualifiers against Andorra and Hungary?
Well, both of them went off to the Euros. Obviously, Aaron wasn't our boy, but now he is. He's been incredible, of course. Apart from the goal that Son got in, but ref didn't stop play when Xhaka got injured. So, as far as I'm concerned, we won that game 3-0. But scoreboard might say something else, though. No, but I expected the two to be called up, obviously, from Saka's performance in the summer. And as for Ramsdale, he's probably just behind what's his name at Everton.
Pickford.
Yeah, that's his name. Do you know what? I'm tired. I do apologise if I forget.
No worries.
I'm tired, but I'm still here and I'm still smiling, so we're all good. But yeah, no, I think Jordan Pickford needs to watch his back. I mean, he's already taken Leno's shot. Why not take Pickford's? He better watch his back.
Totally.
He's on a roll. I mean, Everton aren't doing too well at the moment, so I would be shocked if he starts for one of these games because he's had he's had his clean sheet up until Sunday, so he's not doing too bad. As for Saka, yeah, I expect him to be there. End of story. I was quite surprised that Smith Rowe wasn't called up, but he is playing for the under 23s or 21s. Can't quite remember. So it's something's better than nothing. But if he has a good season, he will get in for Qatar. I hope he gets in for Qatar. I'd be so happy for him. Can you imagine watching him and Saka on that world stage?
Absolute quality. It's crazy because, I think with Saka, he's young. Yeah, we all know he's young, but just in terms of the impact he's had at Arsenal, and obviously the impact he had at the Euros recently in the summer, I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion now that even if he does kind of have a dip in form, in terms of his kind of consistent quality that he's showing in both an Arsenal shirt, as well as an England shirt, that he's going to be kind of part and parcel of that England setup. Because let's face it, he hasn't had the greatest start to the season. Obviously, he came alive, in the North London derby, and we can only hope that that's going to kind of be the springboard for
With that, sorry, just touching on the North London derby. I mean, with that, the Hale End boys, they know what it means to score in a North London derby. Both of them got their goals in their first senior game together. They know what it means. They know it more than the players that come in. So they know. We know what it means as well. and that's the connection we have with them. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay.
No, it's fine. And I just think, some England fans will probably kind of like raise a bit of an eyebrow, obviously, with his selection, because you know England do have, you know, an abundance of forward talent. But I think one of the things that Saka, like, obviously we know how he plays and we know how consistently well he plays, and I think England fans have seen that at the Euros. But I think the other thing that Saka has that, well, I believe that he has over a lot of the other forwards is just his versatility. So even though he's selected as a forward, I think Gareth knows that, you know, if push come to shove, he could do a job, you know, in various positions, you know, within that squad. And to have that in your locker and to have that as part of your team, I think for Gareth, you know, I'm going to say it, you know, live on a stream, I think Saka is one of the first names in that England team. And that's not just for his performances on the right, but just for his versatility and the fact that he can, you know, fill in a gap, you know, right back, left back, number 10 if needed. You know, I just think this kid can literally play anywhere on the pitch, you know. So as a manager, you're going to want that type of versatility in your side.
No, definitely. That's why we call him our star boy. Come on.
That's it. And with guards, Ramsdale, you know what? Like, you know, I think, you know, we said it, you know, in the last couple of streams that he's really surprised us all in terms of his form. None of us were convinced or completely convinced by, you know, his transfer to Arsenal, but he's come in, you know, he's won over, as, you know, Gunnar King was saying in the last stream, he's won the Arsenal fans over so quickly with just his kind of enthusiasm and passion. And in all honesty, I can see him doing the same, you know, at international level, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, Pickford better watch out.
He better watch out. So so happy with the fact that they've been obviously included in the England squad.
Do you know what? It's nice to have Arsenal players in the England squad. It's been that long. I mean, it's like it was taken over by Spurs players in 2018. They did well, but it was like I was invested, but I'm not as invested as I am now because it's got my team players in there. I mean, you guys know I bought my first England shirt, my first time in my 28 years of life, like this summer, and it's got his name on it. End of story. It just says it all.
Yeah, you're not at all worried that obviously, you know, we're not playing as many games as we would have liked this season, obviously because we're not in Europe. But you're not worried at all that, you know, the likes of Saka potentially will feature in both those games. Would you not prefer him to kind of be at Arsenal and just kind of recuperating for the league campaign?
Do you know what? If we had Europe, I'd be concerned, but because our games are more like once a week now, he's got that rest time, that train time. But that kid does not stop. I mean, I was watching him he was like feet away from me at Wimbledon, and you could just see on his face he wanted to be on that pitch. He didn't want to be standing warming up with Smith Rowe and Balogun. Like I think one of my pictures that I showed you guys on how close I was sitting, you could see it in his face. He's sitting there watching the game. I want to be on that pitch. I don't want to be here. But it was only AFC Wimbledon, so I can understand why he started from the bench because he was having a rough time at the time. But I'm kind of really someone like the chat. I can see that the chat's talking about Ben White at the minute.
Yeah, and we're going to touch upon him. We're going to touch upon him just now.
Yeah.
So in terms of obviously, you know, and I think with Ramsdale, you know, like you said earlier, I think chances are he probably won't play. And even if he does play, you know, I think, you know, barring a complete disaster, you know, he'll stay fit. Hopefully he'll get a look in across the 2 games, but I don't have any concerns with regard to his fitness or you know, his inclusion into the England side.
It looks like he's been training with David as well. That's the best part.
Yeah, he's been at the ground. He's been at the training ground recently.
I don't know if anyone saw the interview with him, and someone asked him what's it like to be standing next to David Seaman, and he was like, "I'm not that old." And I literally cracked me up. Yeah, I forget he's only 23. Like
he's got, you know what? He's got an abundance of like personality, you know, and I think that's something that really, I think Arsenal fans we didn't really know about, but like just seeing him on like Arsenal Twitch this week, you know, some of the kind of quotes from the interviews and just seeing him on kind of mainstream TV, you can really see his kind of personality and character coming out.
No, he's just such a smiley person. He just makes me want to smile. So I'm glad we bought him. I know I didn't want him, but I'm eating humble pie.
Exactly, as Gunnar King said, we're eating the whole pie at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
We'll move on to obviously not so good news with regards to the England squad announcement. Obviously, the exclusion or absence of Ben White. So he was part of the Euro side. Didn't get a look in terms of minutes. Didn't play. But, you know, after what was a successful season with Brighton last year, he got a call up. And obviously, you know, just being around the camp, being with the lads must have been really good. You know, just good experience for him to kind of just experience that whole Euro campaign. In terms of his exclusion or absence from this England side, at all worried, bothered? What's your feelings around him not being selected?
Do you know what? I can't have every Arsenal player that's eligible to play for England to play for England. And if I was going to leave someone out, it'd be him. I mean, he's still finding his feet with us at the moment. And he's looked a bit scary at some points, as we've talked about on previous shows. But I know what he's capable of. I've watched him since he was playing for Peterborough. So I followed him for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of him growing into it and getting, like, obviously the back five, building that relationship from the foundations that they've already got.
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, him not being part of this current England team for these two games. As you said, you know, he's made a big money move to Arsenal, come under a lot of criticism for the first, you know, 3 or 4 games. Obviously, he got COVID, so he was out. So he's not had, you know, the most easiest of transitions when joining a new club, because obviously, you know, 3 defeats, he was absent, you know, in terms of COVID. And, you know, no disrespect to Brighton. He's gone from Brighton to Arsenal, which is a major step up in terms of, you know, in just terms of expectation. And, you know, he is finding his feet. I think he has looked shaky. And, you know, we've mentioned that on our streams. We've mentioned that on our shows. But I think against Tottenham was definitely his best game. And I think that goes for most of the team, really. That was probably their best game of the season so far. So, you know, the signs are good. So hopefully he just kind of continue to grow, you know, in stature at the club. He hopefully get regular football, you know, next to Gabriel. And, yeah, hopefully just goes from strength to strength. I think, you know, when it comes to centre-backs, he's young. You know, he's got a lot of learning to do and a lot of years and potential, you know, major international tournaments ahead of him. So I'm not too worried, you know, that he wasn't selected for this squad. I think it would probably be quite beneficial for him to stay at home, stay with Arsenal and just kind of, you know, settle in a little bit more without all the travelling and so forth. The last England gooner that we're going to, you know, kind of focus on or mention is this gentleman here. The iconic celebration, which we
that's actually my screen look at the moment. I love that picture. I absolutely love it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously Smith Rowe, I'm going to be honest, I didn't, you know, personally, I wasn't even prepared for the England squad announcement because I wasn't really focused on it. I was just kind of still, you know, getting over the Tottenham win, the Derby 3-1 win.
We've all been bouncing all week, don't worry.
And I was just looking ahead for Brighton. I wasn't even thinking about after Brighton there's the whole international break, because right now I think, you know, I just want us to keep playing because we seem to be getting results.
We're on a roll. That's why.
Yeah, but obviously the squad came out, and I have to be honest, I didn't even clock or actually like think about, you know, a potential call up for Smith Rowe. But, you know, looking at Gareth Southgate's quotes, it was pretty clear that, well, from what he said, that Smith Rowe was actually quite close to, you know, an international call up. So just in terms of like how Smith Rowe started the season, obviously off the back of the 3-1 Derby win, and now, you know, the England squad, he's not been selected. What are your thoughts around, you know, should he have been selected? You know, given the 2 teams that we're playing in the qualifiers, or are you pretty happy for him to just, you know, keep his head down, doing what he's doing at Arsenal, and then, you know, obviously a call up to England is inevitable?
Do you know what? I'd love for him to go and play for England, but I don't want him to get injured. He's fragile. We know Smith Rowe is fragile. I've always said that about him. As much as I love him, he's fragile, and I'd rather him stay at home for the moment. He can go in the summer, that's absolutely fine, but I need him for the season. Well, we need him for the season, I should say. Yeah. Like, I mean, he's on a roll. I mean, that goal is just, I know it was a little tap in, but I loved it. When you're sitting behind him, it goes in, it's just like, yes! Like, it's just unexplained emotions, and especially when it's the first one against that lot. So
I think you know what it is. I think it wasn't even just the goal, or was it? It was just his general performance in that game. You know, I think, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans, I think I wouldn't necessarily say he was my man of the match, but because I think there was a lot of contenders for man of the match. But if you actually look at the match, all the kind of key moments of the game, he was involved in. He did kind of keep Arsenal ticking over. He was involved in everything positive in terms of moving forward. So even though it wasn't at the forefront of my mind, now I'm thinking about this England squad. Don't get me wrong, there's some quality players offensively that England have. But, how realistically do you think it is that he would, be in a position to get a call-up between now and the end of the season?
He'd have to have an injury-free season and play like he has straight through and be consistent to even get a look in. And I think my only eyebrow raise at the moment with that England squad is Sancho.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get why he's there.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything this season.
Well, he's hardly played, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I know he's hardly played, but Smith Rowe, I know it's completely
big money move, isn't it? Big money move to United. It's almost kind of guarantees your selection.
People are going to probably hate me for this. It's because he's a United player. Sorry. That's the only reason he got on in the Euros, because he signed for United like the day before. That's what I think, personally. But if your name's attached to that team, you're going to get your way.
Yeah,
eventually.
I think a lot of England fans, and I think particularly a lot of Arsenal fans, do think that. And I think, we've spoken about it in terms of I think in general, even just kind of top 6 club bias. I think that's definitely a thing. I think, a lot of the players that play for, teams lower in the division don't necessarily get a fair shout. And that could also be said for Arsenal and what's going on within, kind of league position wise for Arsenal. So, but we'll see.
Sorry, G. Tony's just put a message in the chat. Arsenal under 23s are 3-0 up against Brighton. It's an omen.
Let's just hope. We get more of that for tomorrow. So at this point, we'll kind of draw a line under, obviously, Gooners and the England squad selection. I think the only other player really to mention was Ainsley Maitland-Niles. But I think given the situation at Arsenal, he's not getting games. I think it's pretty clear that, he's probably not going to be in contention, of an England spot for some time. So, but I thought I'd, give him a little mention because he is a Gooner. He is English. So we'll mention him nonetheless. So we'll go through some comments and then we'll move on. Swear it. I'm so happy to see Ramsdale and Saka in the England squad. These two really deserve it. Absolutely agreed. Stephen, remember to hit the like button. And if you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe now. Take a moment, do it now. Thanks. Stephen, love the fact that you're watching. Hope you're feeling better, mate. We also have Matt Darrington. Evening. Yes, no Jude Bellingham. You know what? Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't particularly watch him play. No, he wasn't. Nah. And he's having an absolute blinder at Dortmund. He's assisting, he's scoring all over the place. So,
as we said in the summer, the guy doesn't watch German football. We need to buy him a BT pass so we can watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were saying the same thing about him and Sancho. And was it Sancho in the summer before he played?
Just out of interest, though, Matt, if you would pick Bellingham to obviously be in the England squad, just out of interest, before we move on to some more Arsenal-related stuff, who would you drop from the squad? Just out of interest. TSG22 _HD. Hello all. Good evening, Henry. We've got Swara again. Even ESR and Balogun got their place in the under-21 England squad. Always nice to see some Arsenal names in the national squads, most definitely. Good evening, David. Hi, everyone. Hope you're well. We have Joseph. Lottie, were you surprised Ben White wasn't picked? Well, yeah, we've kind of covered that most recently. So thank you for the question, Joseph. Matt Darrington, I hate Southgate.
Do you know what? I know his feelings on Southgate, so I'm just gonna laugh.
Yeah, I've throughout the whole Euros, I said it. I'm not his biggest fan. Obviously, we got through to the final, and my stance on that kind of eased. Obviously, since the euphoria of making the final, I don't think he's probably the best man for the job. But nevertheless, I do think England are a good team, and I do think England have made progress under Southgate. consistently, when you look at the stats in terms of results, goals conceded, they are in a really good place. And
he's got rid of that internal rivalry.
Yeah, he's brought some good stuff to the England setup. Do I think he will lead England to a major competition? No. In terms of winning it, no. But then I don't know whether that's all Southgate's issue or whether that's just we're not good enough as a squad. I think it's the best squad we've had in a long time. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough, for any England manager to win a major competition, especially where we haven't won one for so long. No Ben White as well. Yeah, we've covered that. Cheers, guys. Exclusive of Ben White is a surprise. So Swarrett's surprised that Ben White hasn't necessarily made the squad. Good evening, Tony. Danzino, I know you was here the other day. Evening, both. You're back. Nice to see you back. Welcome. Hope you're good. ESR, I think that was just kind of like
when the picture came up.
The image. Yeah. I think that's how we all feel. Antonio, greetings all. Trying to get out of work ASAP. I'm here listening. Much appreciated to you all. Good evening, Antonio. Tom, I don't recognize that name. I don't know if you do.
New name. Welcome.
I think it's a new name. Let us know, Tom, if you're new to the show. Good evening if you are. Good evening if you're not. I was surprised ESR wasn't called up, but then I did think Southgate talked some sense as to the reason why he was left out. Ramsdale, mind you, star for the future. Definitely. Definitely.
He's coming for Pickford's shirt. You heard it here first.
Yeah. And there's the update. Arsenal 3-0 up against Brighton under 23s. Yeah. Let's keep it going. Joseph has a question. So question, Lottie. Angie, do you think Arsenal should possibly go for either Calvin Phillips or Declan Rice in January? I think they're decent personally. Okay, what do you think about that one, Lottie?
I like both, but 34 needs to vacate the building before that even happens. I can't see either of them leaving their clubs either because they are absolutely they're such key parts to their teams.
My concern would be the price.
Yeah.
No, I know. Obviously,
English tax.
Yeah, given the Ben White, transfer, clearly, if we want a player, we're going to sign them. Because I never thought in a million years we'd sign a defender for 50 million, let alone an English defender. But yeah, that would only be my concern. Plus, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I know in the next the next season or so, they're changing the rules in terms of our quotas.
Yes,
so it's going to get very, very interesting. So I think at the moment, with the way we've bought, they must have a rough idea what's coming, and we're matching that.
Yeah. Of the two, who would you prefer?
Declan Rice.
And
yeah, he protects
what
that.
What would you consider like a realistic or reasonable fee for him?
35, maybe.
Yeah, I can't see West Ham letting him go.
No, they won't let him go.
Can't.
They're the key part of it. But I like Calvin Phillips, but I would rather Declan Rice because I love the way he protects his defence. He doesn't. He lets everyone else go forward on that pivot, and then he keeps the back four safe. So.
Yeah. Would one of them not come in though? Hamper Sambi's progression into the team though.
Because
I know you love Sambi.
It would, That's why I don't really want either.
yeah. I get you.
I don't know what they keep him do, but he's still got stuff to learn.
Yeah.
That is exactly my answer from the past.
Okay. So Matt, you would drop Sancho and you would replace him. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you asked him who would you drop for
Bellingham? Yeah, so drop Sancho. And I think that's a fair shout.
That is the right call.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout considering, Sancho's come to United and not done very much. Dortmund CEO said Gareth doesn't rate the Bundesliga that much than the Premier League. I think you kind of said that, Lottie. I think it's pretty clear he doesn't watch.
Yeah, German we need football. To find a BT Sports Plus. Start a GoFundMe page.
Matt again, and Sancho was in the squad at Dortmund because his stats were good. Okay. Matt again, but at United he's not played, so Bellingham should be in instead. And then we have Tom here. I popped in the other night. Okay, so you popped in the other night, but you're back and you're commenting. So welcome to the show. Keep the comments coming. David, Gareth Southgate is very too timing with his squad selection. So kind of inconsistent, I think. I'm not sure. Gareth Southgate is very too timing.
Kind of consistent. If you look back at the squad from the summer, most of the players are there. But the only difference is some of them have moved squads, i.e. Ramsdale. He's with us, with Sheffield United.
Yeah. No worries. Tony here, Ramsdale, England's #1. I think, you know what? I think eventually that probably is going to happen. Because I think if he continues, you know, with the progress he's made at Arsenal, I think that's pretty inevitable that that's going to happen eventually. Henry Rice wants to go back to Chelsea because he's an old Chelsea Academy player.
He's
I've seen a lot of rumors.
He's best friends with
Mason
Mason
Mount. A lot
Mount.
of rumors.
Can see it kind of happen.
And lastly, do we go with Pepe or Sambi on Saturday to replace Xhaka? So we will be getting onto that. So I'm going to hold fire on talking about that. But yeah, thank you so much for the comments. Keep them coming. Before we move on to obviously our preview of the Brighton versus Arsenal game, I thought we would mention a couple of special mentions just because today is today. And the first one has to go out to, there's only one Arsene Wenger. Obviously, in 1996, to the day, Arsenal appointed Arsene Wenger. Obviously, he went on to have, you know, a 22-year, you know, career at Arsenal. You know, some of the highlights, you know, we're talking 3 Premier League titles, 7 FA Cup wins, you know, an unbeaten season, 49 games unbeaten, 38 in the league to win obviously the Premier League. But I think, you know, his achievements are not just solely, you know, in terms of what's happened on the pitch. I think, you know, even rival fans can admit, you know, when he came to English football, he completely revolutionized it in terms of playing style, in terms of like training ideas, in terms of dietary requirements for players. You know, I think he even infamously closed the pub at Arsenal so that the players wouldn't have their pints before the games and after the game. So, yeah, you know, we was talking about this, you know, before we came on air, Lottie, and you was asking me, you know, obviously in 96, I was about 11 or 12 years old. Now, as much as I was an Arsenal fan before that, Arsene Wenger was probably the first manager that I really connected with. And that was probably because, you know, there was a lot of like massive debate about who is this guy? You know, he's joined the club. He was a nobody. And he, you know, I was an Arsenal fan when he was appointed. I was of an age where I could kind of understand what was going on at the club. For you, in terms of Arsene Wenger, like, you know, his legacy, what, you know, how do you feel about the man? Obviously, he left the club, and let's face it, you know, at the end, it didn't end well. You know, many feel like he was hounded out of the club. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the great man Wenger himself?
Do you know what? He signed when I was like 3. So, you know, he's all I've known. Apart from after that, I've seen it all the managers come and go. Yeah. And obviously we're now with an ex-player who I did enjoy watching. So I'm quite content.
Wenger brought to the club.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a bit of a legacy for him right there. Yeah. But do you know what? Like, there's always I've read about George Graham and everything else, but I've never seen that. I've had Arsene Wenger at the wheel since as long as I can remember. I mean, as I said, I was 3 years old when he signed. Do you know what I mean? Going on 4 within the week. I mean, it's just I didn't know what was going on at the time, so I kind of missed that sort of era when he first started. Yeah. But obviously, when I got to 11 or 12, I obviously knew who he was going to Highbury, and it was just. Yeah, it was just Arsene Wenger. He knew what he was doing, and then it kind of declined over the years, and it got to the point where I feel he was handed out because of certain things, and it just got so. We've been so spoiled. We started to have, like, how do I put this, temper tantrums because we weren't winning. We were spoiled in the early 2000s, absolutely spoiled, and to watch that decline and that happen. It just makes you sad.
Yeah,
because obviously
he was almost. Yeah, it was almost like he was a. There's a phrase that I'm looking for. It was almost like he was, you know, I don't know, almost like a victim of his own success, because obviously he came to the club, you know, won countless trophies, you know, 10 major honours. You know, if you want to include just FA Cups and Premier Leagues, you know, 10 major trophies. Yeah. The style of football he brought, you know, the names like, you know, the Henrys, the Vieiras, the Lundbergs, Perez's, you know, for a lot of Arsenal fans, you know, he is Arsenal. You know, for a lot of Arsenal fans of a certain generation. And, you know, I know there were great managers before him, but in terms of like my experiences growing up, you know, definitely, you know, Arsene Wenger was like, he is Arsenal. You know, he brought so much to the club, you know, that we have to be grateful for. And, you know, I can't sit here and be a hypocrite and say, you know, in latter stages of his Arsenal career, I didn't feel that, you know, we needed a change. I did feel as though that it kind of felt like we were stagnant. It did feel like we weren't really going anywhere. You know, I was, like you were saying, we were spoiled in the fact that we won major trophies. And all of a sudden, after the Invincibles, he had this huge task of rebuilding a side. But I feel football had evolved. You know, football's changed. Like, obviously the money, you know, the money came into the game. Like, when I say money, I mean like real money, like foreign ownership. And it completely changed it. You know, the days of building a squad and signing unknown players at the top level, it was almost unheard of. Like every other season, we were losing players to our rivals. So, you know, obviously he left the club, and he probably didn't leave the club under the circumstances that we all would have liked.
A bit of a rain cloud for me.
Yeah, and I probably feel like he probably left maybe, you know, a couple of years, you know, too late. I think there was one particular FA Cup win that we had where I think it was against Hull, and I thought at that point it would have been good to kind of leave on a high. But obviously he didn't. He loved Arsenal, and that's very clear. Have you read his autobiography? His recent one he brought out.
I've got it behind me, behind my shirt. You can just probably see his face.
Yeah.
Have you read it? Not yet. It's fantastic. In my summer reading, because I bought all my books from from eBay, but I'm halfway through Rocky at the moment. So who's sitting up there next to Dennis, and then I've got the Invincible season just there. So he's there, but I just haven't got to it yet. It's just I've been so busy with that. So,
but yeah, no, I thought we'd mention him. Because it's only right. Like I said, you know, in many Arsenal fans, you know, eyes and opinion is the greatest manager to ever manage Arsenal. In terms of my time as an Arsenal fan,
the Premier League trophy at the back. Sorry, I just
no worries.
Look, I was like, was he there? Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, you know, from what I've seen as an Arsenal fan over the years, I can't speak really before, but you know, for me, he's the greatest Arsenal manager to ever manage Arsenal. Let's just hope that, you know, Mr. Arteta can surpass his great achievements. That the jury is still out whether or not he will or not.
Now, and we've seen something is coming, and then just
we'll see. And obviously, before we get on to the Brighton versus Arsenal game, there is something else that happened in the year 2000. Today in the year 2000, and that was this iconic image here. So Thierry Henry scored what can only go down as one of the greatest ever Premier League goals against our North London rivals, Spurs, and obviously, you know, celebrated in the most iconic way as Thierry Henry did, which we saw in the North London derby at the weekend.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times. 3 times. So yeah, I just thought it would be good to, you know, to obviously mention that, you know, the king himself, you know, Thierry Henry, and like I said, that iconic celebration, which, you know, the lads all did on Sunday gone. But yeah, just in terms of your thoughts around Henry, the greatest player for you to ever wear an Arsenal shirt?
I'm gonna have to say second.
Second.
Okay. I love my Dennis.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but Dennis has got the number 1 spot for me. Like, I threw the ball back to him. He's the first player I've ever done that to. So, like, Dennis, but he's always been my favorite. Always been one of my favorites. So, I mean, like every time you walk past like the statue outside, down by the clock end, it's just like smile on your face, sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, even Dennis's ones around there. Is it Henry around the bottom? I never remember where the statues are, guys. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But obviously, I walk past it all the time when I'm up at the Emirates, when I am there. But it just brings a smile to your face. I mean, angry Spurs fans. Who doesn't love it? I mean, I've actually found a picture of Aubameyang doing that pose, and it's got angry Spurs fans in the background. Yeah. Oh, I should have sent it to you for tonight. I'm so sorry. I found it before we started. Yeah. But they're just as angry, and it just makes you smile. You know, it does make you smile. Really does. You can't smile at them, so you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, so obviously, like I said, like a pretty iconic day, you know, given the fact that, you know, In 1996, we appointed Wenger, and then obviously in the year 2000 we had that iconic celebration, which I think all Arsenal fans can connect with so kind of deeply. But we've spoken about obviously Gooners with regards to England squad. We've spoken about some of those kind of iconic guys of the past, Wenger and Henry. But we're going to move on to obviously this weekend's big game. We've got Brighton tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff. In what is a really important game. Now, I'm going to bring up this image, and it's an image of Arteta himself, showing all the passion. I think there's one thing about this guy, regardless of the criticism, you can really see that he loves the club. You can really see the passion that just oozes through his body. In terms of, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about must-win games. We were talking about fixtures that Arsenal had to win. We were off the back of losing to Brentford, losing to City, losing to Chelsea. I can't remember which order it was, but, 3 back-to-back defeats. And since then, we've gone on a bit of a mini run. We've beat Norwich, we beat Burnley, we've won in the Cup, and we've beat, obviously, our North London rivals. Is this game against Brighton still a must-win game for Arteta? Or do you feel as though he's somewhat giving himself a bit more breathing space and a bit more time so that regardless of tomorrow's result, he's pretty safe?
Personally, I want to win. I had a few Brighton fans come at me today, and they think they can compete with us. It's nice, don't get me wrong, because they're looking up the table, but well, technically down the table at the moment. But in normal circumstances, they'd be looking up the table. But Graham Potter's been doing a phenomenal job with them this year. I think our record at the Amex is not great, so I'm not really looking forward to it. It's going to be a hard game. They're going to have to dig in and just absolutely go for it like we did at home. I know quite a lot of the Ashburton Army are off to the game, and they're going to have incredible away sport as always with those boys, and a few of my other mates that are going. But literally, they need to feed off that energy. They need to be heard, feed off that energy, and just go for it, because that's what I feel Aubameyang's been missing if he starts. And since having him back there and having Ramsdale rearing up the fans, it helps. They were feeding off that pure energy on Sunday, and we all enjoyed it as well because they were reacting to that. Our away support will get the sound there, so I'm not too worried about that. But I think in terms of him and breathing space, we need to win it. End of story. I mean, we've got Brighton fans saying, "Oh, you only won 1-0 against Norwich, Burnley, and obviously we beat Wimbledon." But I forgot to mention Brighton. We played Tottenham. We beat them 3-1.
Yeah, they did.
So you've seen the screenshot I sent you.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about. And they're just getting a little bit too big for their boots. As much as I've got a soft spot for Brighton. Yes, I've got a soft spot for them because they were my team I used to watch in the Championship, and I still like to watch them now and again. But when it comes to this clash, it is one of my second favourites. But it's Arsenal all the way. Never question my loyalty to my team. I'd rather them lose. I need them to drop points. So they're ours for the taking. We've got fully fit squad, minus 34. So
see, my concern is that obviously we're on this run. 4 games in a row. But my concern is we've seen this from Arsenal before. I know it's not the same team, it's not the same personnel, but with Arteta, we have seen really positive signs where we've beat some of the top teams in the league. And I saw Gunnar King mention it earlier today on a live stream that he was on, and he said, we beat United last season, and then we went on a run of 8 or 9 games where we dropped points. We didn't win a game, and I think that's my concern is, and that was the only thing about with the North London derby is that you could clearly see that the guys were up for that game. And I think, given the start that we had, you know, Arteta and the lads, we can't fault them. They came out, they put in a performance, they got a result. It was a fantastic performance. But for me, the hard work is still to be done. You know, there's no point, you know, beating Tottenham so convincingly and then going obviously away to Brighton and then dropping points. So I think what I'm really looking for is consistency. If we were to lose tomorrow, would you just feel like, well, we're back to square one?
No, I'm sorry, but it's. I've just literally pulled up their fixtures that they've just had. They've not played any of the big six. They've played Burnley, Watford, Everton, Brentford, Leicester. Leicester is a big-ish team because they've won the league, but they're not quite there yet for the big six for me. And then they played Crystal Palace. Leicester are falling apart. Everton are falling apart. They're meant to be medium hard games. Do you know what I mean? And they're falling apart because of injury. The rest of them teams, I expect them to win. I expect them to beat Palace, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And the way they're playing. So I expect Arsenal to win. I'm not scared of Maupay at all. I'm sure that Gabriel and Ben White can close his nonsense straight down. I mean, I'm sure Ramsdale get another clean sheet as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually putting my neck on the line here. I'm not afraid of Maupay. Not at all. I mean, the other week he only scored the other week and got given a penalty because the ref wasn't watching what he was doing. It was not a penalty at all. So it also depends on who's refereeing this game, actually. I haven't actually. Does anybody know the ref for tomorrow? Can you drop it?
I've not seen who's refereeing the game.
Normally I pick it up on my fantasy football app, but I haven't had a look. So if anybody knows, can you let me know?
Yeah, I just think like with this game, I think it's a dangerous game, and you know, I don't think we can underestimate this team at all. You know, obviously, you know, the league position doesn't lie.
The only good thing about tomorrow is we won't be seeing
well in the games they've had so far.
We won't be seeing Danny Welbeck tomorrow. He's injured.
No,
he's out
we
for
won't be, which is a plus. I really hate playing against ex-players. It really scares me.
Especially.
It really scares me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What's that?
Every day. I didn't know that. I learned
something
new
every
day.
It's just one of those things where it's almost like it's written in the stars. It's almost like, you know, you get these players. I think ex-players, they really have it in them where they get really kind of pumped up for when they play a team that they used to play for, and they kind of go, you know, the extra mile to kind of put in a performance. So it really kind of leaves me uneasy. But
I think we saw that with Danny Welbeck and Man United.
Yeah.
They were brilliant there. Oh, it looks like it's Jonathan Moss.
Jonathan Moss. Okay. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's a fixture that I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's a fixture that for me, I think it's got dodgy written all over it. And I just feel as though the fan base as a whole, you know, I've seen and witnessed a shift in terms of optimism. You know, there was a time when obviously off the back of those 3 defeats, it was kind of all, you know, doom and gloom. It was, you know, Arteta out. You know, we're gonna finish bottom half of the table and. You know, all of a sudden, 3 league wins, and you know, naturally, the optimism has grown. But I just feel with this Arsenal side and with Arteta that we are 1 defeat away from, you know, being in a crisis again, and that's just my concern. So I really hope the lads obviously put in a performance. We'll go through some of these comments before obviously we move on. And apologies, I know you guys, you know, put in a lot of comments with regards. The stuff that we put up earlier about Arsene Wenger and Thierry Henry. So I am going to track back and I am still going to go through them because it was my mistake to not go through them. So I will go through them. We have here, and this is something that we will park, Tom. We'll read it, but then we'll come back to it probably at the end of the show. And Thomas said here, what are your thoughts on this Sanchez on a free malarkey? And Jan, I've seen it a lot on Twitter today, but honestly, I'd rather have Wilshere on a pay-as-you-pay for backup if needed. That's something we did touch upon in the last show, but we will speak about it come the end of the show. So just hold that thought. Arsene Wenger was brilliant manager. I remember watching Rosicky, Nasri, Shavin, great players. Arsene was brilliant. Yeah, he really, really was. Jay Gilliam, we have another on this day fact from 1966. George Graham scored in his debut versus Leicester in a 4-2 defeat. Day after he signed. Wow.
Nice
fact there. Swearer, Wenger is just one of the Arsenal greats. To see those Wenger out flying banners in his final managerial years were embarrassing. It was, you know, I was in favor of Wenger leaving, but I wasn't massively vocal about it because I just felt like he deserved more respect. I did feel as though Arsenal needed to move on. We needed to bring someone new in, but I just wasn't as vocal as most Arsenal fans or some sections of Arsenal fans. In the latter years, when things weren't going well, were you at any point Wenger out?
I wanted him to go, but a lot of people forgot he's a human being. Yeah. That's what really ticks me off about these, what did I call them? Cancel culture people. Yeah. Let's just call them that. And it just annoys me. They don't have any consideration that there's a human being on the end of this receiving end. It's the same with the online abuse, whether it's sexism, racism, or anything like that. You've got to remember there's a person at the end of that. Do you know what I mean? And it was horrible. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I couldn't even go to games.
It was toxic.
Because of that toxicity. And it was obviously it was blown up because of other reasons.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about it. I couldn't do it anymore.
You could really see the impact it had on him as well. Oh, for a man who basically gave, his life to the club, 22 years. Exactly. And obviously the way he was treated. And I think, what hurt more for me was just the kind of public embarrassment, the kind of, the chants, the out, the ridicule, the kind of abuse. Yeah, the ridicule. That's what it was, because, a manager of that stature and that success deserved to leave the club better. But like Jay Gillian has said here, I do feel part of that was his responsibility as well. I did feel like he stayed in the job too long. And thank you for reminding me, it was 2014 when we won the FA Cup. And I just thought at that point, that was the perfect time to leave. But obviously he didn't, he stayed on. But yeah, it wasn't great how he left the club. David, inspirational from Thierry Henry. Suarez, I can't get enough of Thierry. Thierry Henry is my number one. Henry moment, wow, what a goal. Henry is a god, but I always loved Righty Mind. My hero going up Highbury was amazing. Yeah, and I said that in the last show. I said, Ian Wright was the reason why I supported Arsenal. But nevertheless, Henry, as much as I understand why you chose Dennis Bergkamp, Lottie, and to be honest, I think that there's only one player that could top Henry logically and rationally, and that is Bergkamp. Yeah. So any other player, I'd argue, but I love both of them. I can definitely, they were both so sensational. Yeah. But for me, Henry just nicks it. But yeah, both amazing players. The chat's moved on a bit slightly here. So Manchester United players getting preferential treatment. Yeah, I know. Shock horror.
Never.
What about more pay? So that's back to the Arsenal game. Well, you know what? Have you seen the tweet that he put out, or the tweet that Brighton's put out with him on it?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've quoted it and I saved it. Quoted it and saved it. I'm waiting.
Yeah, we really need to shut them up. Just like we shut up Spurs, we really need to shut them up tomorrow. So I really hope the lads do. I really do.
I hope they all use social media. Don't be fooled.
Yeah. Ross, good evening. Tomorrow is a must-win just to keep the momentum and confidence up, but I won't be calling for Arteta to go if we lose. He's here to stay, to win or lose, to get behind him, build from the Tottenham game. I agree. Totally. I feel as though if we lose tomorrow, if we don't win, I will be left feeling underwhelmed. But I'm not all of a sudden going to start saying Arteta out, because even when we lost those 3 games, I never said Arteta out. I just said I wasn't convinced by Arteta. I've never once really called for him to be fired or sacked. So yeah, I agree with you, Ross. David says, I think Brighton will score, but we'll be okay. John Moss, thank you for confirming, is the referee.
Jonathan Ross is a ref. Oh, Lord. Imagine you have a picture being a referee coming up.
That would be really interesting.
Can you imagine you having an argument with Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah.
And he was saying,
I used to watch his show a lot. I actually really like it.
Yeah, no, I do as well. But I'm just like him against Ronaldo saying no penalty. Oh,
yeah.
Just makes me laugh. Sorry.
Crazy. And David's confirming here. So 1st of October is a great day for Arsenal in history. It is indeed. I have to admit, I didn't even know those stats. It was only when they were tweeted out. Obviously, I knew around the years and stuff, but when they were tweeted out today, I said, no, we've definitely got to mention it in tonight's show. Nice. So, yeah, thank you guys for blowing up the chat. Feel free to put in your comments. Tom, we will come back to your comment with regard to Sanchez and the free transfer in January. I've just parked it, but we'll come back to the end of the show. If there is anything else that you'd like to discuss, aside from obviously looking forward to the Brighton game on Saturday, please do put it in the chat. And if we've got time at the end of the show, we'll come onto it and discuss it. But moving on, obviously we've discussed Arteta. We've spoken about whether or not this is a must-win. I feel as though at this stage, it's not really a must-win. I feel as though the wins in the league and the cup has given him some breathing space. I think regardless of the result tomorrow, I don't think his job's in danger. But I do think a loss and even a draw will crank the pressure back up. And I'm sure if we do lose tomorrow, which I hope we don't, I'm sure Twitter will not be a very nice place, regardless of the fact that we've just beaten Spurs. So hopefully the lads can do it. But we're going to move on to team selection. Now, well, it was easy. What can I say? I actually, you know what, guys, those of you who are watching, the last couple of weeks, me and Lottie have literally been kind of bang on in terms of picking, no problem, in terms of picking, the same team. I think it's really clear that we have a kind of similar, and I think all Arsenal fans have a kind of similar opinion, similar view in terms of what our best 11 looks like. So this week, I didn't even say to Lottie, I didn't say, oh, pick a team. I literally picked the team and said, how does this look? And Lottie's response was basically, yeah, this is the team I'd pick. So I'm going to bring the team up now. Hopefully Lottie will join us. If not, I'll just run through, obviously, the team and obviously why I've selected them. Lottie is here. That's good.
Sorry about that. I had to take a call from my mom. She's on her way back. I'm so sorry.
No worries. So, yeah, I was just explaining to the guys that obviously we've been kind of on the same wavelength. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans have been on the same wavelength in terms of the squad and who should play. And I said, this week, we didn't even bother because I just sent you a screenshot and said, is this the team you'd pick? And you were like, yeah.
I sent you, do you know what? I sent you my fan hub screenshot straight back and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Literally, there's one change for obvious reasons, which makes me smile even more.
Yeah.
So, as a lot of people know I don't like 34.
Yeah.
And obviously, Stephen started the whole 34 thing up with Granit Xhaka, and that's what we call him on here now. And I've just kind of adapted it to my language because it makes me feel better. So, this was just an easy switch. Sambi ahead of El Sideways, also known as El Neni if you're new to the channel. He doesn't get anywhere near this. I mean, if Sambi went injured, I'd be absolutely devastated for the kid. Touch wood, he doesn't. It would have to be Ainsley Maitland-Niles because obviously Partey's number one. There's nothing else in it. But that team on Sunday was perfect, and I think this is the perfect team to go up a very, very strong Brighton side at the moment. I mean, you've got that pivot of Odegaard, Sambi, and Partey. I mean, Sambi and Partey, Partey's quite happy to stay in the middle while Odegaard and Sambi go forward, and it just works. It works for me. The back four, well, it should be back five really, because that relationship, the foundation for that relationship is there. They're always constantly talking to each other. Ramsdale's always screaming at them if they didn't do something right. I mean, everyone saw the Tomiyasu and Ramsdale moment. That just makes you smile. Like witness it firsthand is just even better. I mean, it's just perfect team, and I can't argue with it. I could see potentially Arteta throwing in Lacazette to get him some minutes, but we'll see. It's just Aubameyang started finding his form again, so I don't think he will, but we might get some minutes.
Yeah,
might.
I think you know what it's like for me. It was an easy decision to pick this side. I think it's been the easiest selection that I've had, since the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I would be gobsmacked if he changes anybody in that back five. Unless there is a late injury, God forbid, or anything like that. I think touch wood. I think it's pretty certain that Ramsdale will start in goal, and the back four will be as you like against Spurs. Tomiyasu, Tierney, Gabriel and Ben White at the back. I can't see any logic or any rationale behind changing that. I think what we haven't seen, and that's not always to do with Arteta. A lot of it is to do with injury, COVID, etc. We've not been able to see a consistent back four, back five. And I think the fact that they're all fit, the fact that they're, all playing well, defensively, we've been sound. I can't see that changing. So, that's why I think both me and you were really dead set on, the back four, back five. I think you've explained the midfield. I think with 34 being out, it's a simple change. Do you think he could potentially, obviously this is the team we've picked, do you think there would be any particular tweak or change to this? Like if we can kind of put on our Arteta hats right now for a minute. Obviously with 34 being out, we have played with ESR in the middle or Odegaard in the middle. And then, so if we were to take out Sambi and just say put ESR there and then Odegaard where Odegaard is, or switch Odegaard to where Sambi is and put ESR where Odegaard is, do you think there is a chance that he could potentially play, like Martinelli or Pepe for this game?
Yeah, but then that would take Saka off the right because Pepe can't play on the left. It takes him; he can't do what he normally does with the cutting on the inside. Yeah, and I've said it on the last couple of shows. I prefer Saka on the right. That's where he scores from. And people complaining like, oh, he doesn't score enough. He's got no finish. He scores from the right. I know I've said this in the last show, but he does. Yeah. I prefer him on the right. Smith Rowe, I like him on the left, but it's a question of where do you put Pepe? Where do you put Martinelli?
Yeah, I can't see him touching that front three. After the game they had in the North London derby, I honestly like when I look at the team that played against Spurs, and I look at this team, I can't fathom a reason why you would touch the back five or why you would touch the front three. The only change for me is a forced one, which is, even though we have our beliefs that Sambi should have started, in place of 34, but nevertheless, 34 had a good game, and obviously he can't play in this game. So for me, the logic would be don't tinker with it too much, just replace 34 with Sambi, and you've literally got a like-for-like change and a like-for-like, first 11. So I would be gobsmacked if he changes more than that. But I guess 4:30 tomorrow afternoon will be the test when the team news is
the Arsenal Twitter meltdown. I will be on
that. Had that for a while though.
Yeah, no, we haven't had it for a while, and I don't want to see it for a while. I mean, this is the perfect.
We haven't had that for a while.
And I think consistency will be key, but we'd have to switch it up, otherwise we're going to be sussed by other teams. Yeah, that's my only concern with that. As much as I love that. Yeah, we've got to switch it up now and again because otherwise we'll be sussed for the season, and then we'll just go still.
And other players do need minutes. We don't have the luxury. Exactly. I say the luxury. We don't have the luxury of European football, so we can't, rotate our squad as much as we probably would have liked. Yeah. We don't need to rotate it as much as we'd like because we don't have as many games. But at the same time, where will the other players get their minutes? The
thing is, we need to rotate in the cup games. That's my attitude on it. I know we've only just started the Carabao. We don't start the FA Cup till January. But we need to start rotating in those games. I mean, I think there's one more game before the VAR comes back, and that's the only time I've actually enjoyed the cup games. Obviously, I've been, but there's been no VAR. It's been brilliant because you've got the original back in the day where you could actually debate stuff, and it's like, oh, should that been a goal? Should it? But it's too much over analysing for me now, and it's just like, no matter what happens. I mean, the prime example from last season that really annoyed me was the fact that Saka's toe was offside. Toe. And then I've seen someone do it this season and it wasn't offside. It makes sense. Yeah. It's just I don't know. I really don't know. It's ridiculous.
But so obviously, looking ahead to tomorrow's game, I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than Spurs. And the reason why I think that is because I think Brighton and Graham Potter are going to be, in their minds, it's going to be clear, regardless of what they're putting on social media or what the Brighton fans are saying. Brighton fans, football club, players and manager know that on paper, we have a much better squad. We have better players. And I don't feel as though they're going to play into our hands the way Spurs did. I think they're going to be set up really well. They're going to have quite a few men behind the ball. And they're going to keep the game, compact, tight. And I think it's really going to be up to us, even though it's an away game. I think it's really going to be up to us to take the game to them and break them down. How do you see? Do you see it? Do you see Brighton bringing the game to us? Because they can play football. I've seen them on their day. They can play football. Do you see them sitting back and asking Arsenal the question of, can you break us down, or do you think they're going to actually have a goal and make a real game of it?
Yeah, first off, we're at the Amex. This is their ground. Yeah. They run things at their ground. I mean, we haven't won there since they come up. If I remember rightly, we have not won. We've drawn, but we haven't won. They will take the game to us. It's their ground. That's the attitude they have as a team. Mm-hmm. When I've watched them playing at home, that's the attitude I feel they've got. It's just a case of which Arsenal team's going to turn up. Are they going to be switched on? Are they going to be up for this? Because we know what they're like. Sometimes they just completely switch off, not interested.
Yeah.
But I think if we can get a couple of goals in early on, I think we'll be up for it and we're on a roll. Mm-hmm. They keep doing what they're doing, communication. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have a first win over down there.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a win down
there. I'm not afraid of what they have going forward. No, I think I've seen enough against Norwich, Burnley and Spurs to have confidence that I don't think, even if Brighton score, I don't think they'll get more than one.
The thing is, with Brighton, their defenders like a goal.
Yeah.
And that's my thing in the back of my mind at the moment, especially with Duffy.
Yeah.
That is what's in the back of my mind. He likes a goal. I mean, I got him on the fantasy football. I know. I've been watching him. So it's like I've had to bench him for this week though. It's just in the back of my mind sort of thing. I know he likes a goal and he's usually up for it, especially when they know they're coming up against Ben White. Ben White is going to have to be on point because they're going to know how to run him. Yeah. He's going back to his club. Mm-hmm. His old previous club, I should say. But they know how to get around him, and that's another one of my concerns. I just go.
Oops! I don't know if we've lost Lottie or if I've frozen.
Completely switched on.
I'm not sure. I think there you are. There you are. Screen froze for a little bit. My end.
Yeah, no, mine did that as well. Apologies, everybody. A bit of technical difficulty. I don't know if you heard me, but I was saying they know Ben White inside out.
Yeah.
He was there since he was a kid, so I mean, unless he went on loan to Peterborough, etc. But they know how he plays. So Tomiyasu and Gabriel are going to have to be very switched on for his threat because he's had his bozo moments as well. I mean, look at the Spurs friendly, completely switched off, and someone else was bailing him out. So
see, for me, I'm in a way, I'm kind of opposite. I'm not concerned defensively. My concern comes from the fact that I think Brighton are well organised, and I think we struggled against Norwich, and I think we struggled against Burnley when both teams sat deep. And I think with regards to the Spurs game, obviously North London derby, their tactics were all over the place, but nevertheless, they play naturally more offensive, so they left gaps. And I think the Arsenal players, obviously that were up for it, found it very easy to just kind of maneuver their way, hit them on the counter-attack and get the goals. I'm not sure if Brighton will bring the game to us. I'll watch it tomorrow and I'll see, but I'm not sure after that Spurs match that they're going to do that. I think they might actually sit deep and try and hit us on the counter. And I think that's where we could potentially struggle because as we've seen, with a lot of our previous games, we tend to have a lot of the ball, but we don't really do much with it. I very much feel like with the likes of Aubameyang, Saka, Odegaard, and ESR, we do better when we're hitting teams on the counter. The problem is a lot of teams, as we know, they give us the ball, they sit back, they stay compact, and then they ask us the question of, okay, if you want to win this game, break us down. And we have struggled with creativity in the past. back end of last season, even this season. So that's more my concern. I'm more concerned not so much about the defense, but more about the attacking players in this match.
I've got a question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Whose pocket is Maupay going home in? Ben White, Gabriel Tomiyasu, or Kieran Tierney? We all know Ben White's already got Harry Kane in his back pocket still.
I think he's going to target Ben White, if anything. I think he's going to try and stay clear of Gabriel. I think whoever Gabriel's marking, he's going to pocket. But I think Maupay will deliberately kind of stay clear of Gabriel. And looking at that back four, even though I don't like to say it, you know, Ben White is the one I feel the least confident about defensively.
The weakest link.
Yeah, just from what I've seen. Tomiyasu has come in and just been an absolute rock. I'm not concerned there. Tierney, he doesn't really, not to say he's not getting the credit, but when he first came, he got the credit because we know how good he is now. We kind of overlook it, so I'm not worried about him. Consistently, Tierney just does his job. And then obviously Gabriel's come back and he's an absolute rock. What's that?
He's dropped off just a little bit with me, picking out his passes.
Yeah. I've heard that from a few Arsenal fans recently.
I've watched him and I'm thinking, you're not picking the right crosses out. You need to start concentrating a little bit more. Although the cross is great, it's just gone to the wrong person.
Yeah. See, I'm not worried about those three. My concern of the four defenders is Ben White. I think he will be feeling a bit of pressure going back to, you know, obviously his previous club. There's expectation there. There's going to be nerves. He's going to be anxious. I'm sure the Brighton players are going to be talking all kinds of nonsense in his ear in the tunnel. So, you know, there is going to be that. And he is still a young lad, so he's still finding his feet. So
it depends if he decides to take those fishing rods or not.
There you go. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I do feel as though it's going to be a tougher game than a lot of Arsenal fans are expecting. I expect it to be a close game. I'm not sure what the scoreline is, but we'll move on to that shortly. I'm just going to go through a couple of comments before we move on to predictions and so forth. We've got here, right, where are we? Joseph, Lottie and G, Joy on no 34, not playing. You know what? I have to be honest. When I'm not saying that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'm in favor of 34 or Xhaka or whatever it is. But for me, the reason why I have to admit, I was concerned when he got injured. And it wasn't so much because I was concerned about him not necessarily playing, because I feel as though in Sambi, we do have a player that can deputise, that can play next to Partey. But my concern is more to do with squad depth, because, you know, he's not my favourite player, but I don't have an agenda against Xhaka. For me, I just feel as though, you know, all the things that have happened in the past, I just thought this summer was probably the best time to offload him and get rid of him and bring in somebody, you know, of a better quality. Just given all the history, the Roma move, etc., etc. It was the right time for me to get rid of him. Nevertheless, he stayed. He played in the North London derby. He had a very good game after obviously the red card that got him suspended. But for me, my major concern is not the fact that he's missing 3 months. The fact is, with him being injured, we have one less player in an area of the pitch where we are very light. You know, we have Partey and potentially Sambi starting tomorrow in the middle. And on the bench, we're likely to have Ainsley Maitland-Niles and El Nene. Now, we are one injury away from a crisis in midfield. You know, God forbid, you know, touch wood, Partey stays fit. Partey has to stay fit now. Like, he literally has to stay fit. And when you think about, obviously, we don't know, you know, the AFCON, whether it's going to happen, whether it's not going to happen with regard to COVID, and, you know, the international competitions are being moved all over the place. But even if the AFCON does happen, all of a sudden, you know, we've got Xhaka coming back from probably injury at a time where he's not going to be able to just go straight back into the side, and then Partey will be flying off to play for the AFCON. So my real concern is not so much that he's going to miss the next 3 months, because I feel like if everyone stays fit, I feel as though we can cope with the absence. My concern is that with him now being injured, we are honestly, one injury away from being in a real difficult situation. So I know you're not his biggest fan, but just in terms of the squad balance, are you concerned, that he's out for 3 months and the impact that could have on the squad itself?
Of course. I mean, we need to, as you said, everyone needs to stay fit. Now we can't afford a single injury, touch wood, that it doesn't happen. I mean, as much as I dislike him, I mean, that was one of his best games since Boxing Day last year against Chelsea.
Yeah.
For me. That's just my opinion, because I don't get me wrong, in the games I get behind him, but it always disappoints me with stupid mistakes. So it's only so much I can take. I would never say, I don't want, he needs to go now. I know I joke about it, but I wouldn't go up to him and say, look, you don't deserve to be here, because when he does have his good days, he does deserve to be here. Not so much to captain our side. He should never do that again, but he does deserve to be there. It's just, I'm concerned. I am concerned in that sense.
Are you worried about?
Kind of happy in a way, because it's Sambi gets his shot to bench.
Are you worried about? Obviously now Xhaka is injured. Obviously, we're going to be relying heavily on Sambi. Are you worried at all or concerned at all that obviously he's shown amazing signs that he is ready for the Premier League, but now the dynamics have changed. So it's not like he's not coming on and doing a cameo. He's now going to be other than Partey, he's going to be the next name on the team sheet in the middle. Are you worried at all that pressure could potentially get to him, and are you worried that we're relying on a Sambi moving forward?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nobody captains Anderlecht at 21 years old and does so well out there. Obviously, I've watched his 1920 season. I've watched his 2021 season. I've seen it all. No, he won't buckle under that pressure. There's no bloody way. Excuse my language. I mean, the way he carries himself. I mean, we all saw the interviews after was it Man City he did the interviews?
I believe it was.
Yeah, it's Man City. Yeah. We all saw how he carried himself.
Yeah.
Any other 21-year-old or lower would panic.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this now. The kid is just so sensible. He's got a good head on him. I mean, he was recommended by Henry. And I think he has got what he's got. I think he's got what he takes. I really do. I will back the kid to the hill. I've said it before and I'll say it again. He will bench 30 for the rest of the season once he comes back.
It's an interesting twist, though. This Xhaka injury is an interesting twist. Obviously we wish him, regardless of opinion.
Oh no,
we just want to put it out there. We wish him a speedy recovery. We want him back, with contention of starting, for Arsenal, because we don't have an agenda against him. We do criticize him, but we criticize all the players at different points in the season, just like we were criticizing Aubameyang last season, and now we're encouraging him, obviously having scored a goal, etc. But do you think, obviously, with this twist? With Xhaka being injured, can you see it as a potential lifeline for Ainsley?
Yeah, it could be. But we all know he doesn't want to play it right back, but he will be rotated there when necessary. I think that's a part of the deal of him actually getting minutes. I have a sneaky feeling, because obviously we've got Tommy, and if Tommy's ankle goes again, I definitely don't want to see Cedric there.
But he's been brought on twice so far this season, and in both occasions he was brought on in midfield in both the Norwich I think it was the Burnley and the Spurs game. Yeah. So,
and then he was with two of those games. One of those games he was rotated on. He was pushed to the back on the right back.
Okay.
So
you can see him filling the goal.
It was. I think it was Norwich came on for the midfield when Tomiyasu came off, because I remember Tomiyasu walking around the pitch and the whole ground stood up as he walked round.
Yeah.
And then Smith Rowe came on, and then he was pushed back into right back, if I remember rightly. So he will be in that right back position, but not as often as most of us would say, let's just put him in the back if Tommy's not around. Because I definitely don't want to see Cedric there. I don't want to see Cedric there. We're in trouble.
You know what? I could see Ainsley getting minutes in the middle. I think this Xhaka injury is an interesting twist. I think
it's a disguise.
I think we have I think we have necessary cover at right back. I think obviously Ainsley may be deployed there, but I think all of a sudden with the Xhaka injury, Sambi kind of logically comes in given his preseason and what he's shown so far. But I think, once you look at Sambi, I can't see Arteta playing Sambi week in, week out, game after game at this stage. And I do think that there will be some rotation. And if I'm honest, would I prefer to see Ainsley over El Neni? Every time, if I'm completely honest. As much as I love El Neni's, energy, his effort, I just feel Ainsley's a better player.
Do you know what? I'd be quite happy for El Sideways to play cup games all season.
Yeah. He's a good squad player to have. He's got the right attitude, but I just think quality-wise, I think Ainsley's a better player every day of the week.
I've got a question for you. Do you think this is the perfect opportunity for Charlie Patino to break through?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of noise potentially about that.
Or do you think he's too young? He's still only 17. I know he's a very Santi Cazorla style-esque kid. I
don't think we'll see him in the league. But I think with Xhaka's injury, that's why I think it's a very interesting twist because we're now, one body, light in an area that we're already quite light in. And I think all of a sudden, like I said, Ainsley should be looking at this and seeing this as a golden opportunity to, get your attitude right, get your head down, and actually see this as an opportunity to get some first team minutes in midfield because, besides Sambi and Partey, we're light in midfield. We really light in midfield. So for Ainsley and, young players like Patino and so forth, this could be an amazing opportunity for them. So, yeah, I think the next couple of weeks and months, because I think it is a 3-month layoff that he'll be out for, I think we could see some really interesting team selections.
I think it'll take a couple of weeks. I think it'll take a couple of games to get back for the full 90, to be honest.
Exactly. He's not going to come straight back into the side.
4 months at this point.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, well, we'll go through a couple of more comments before we get onto score predictions. Thank you for that comment. It wasn't so much a question or a comment, but yeah, it gave us something to really kind of get our teeth into. Swearit says here, could we see a 4-3-3 formation in the first half and then shift into a 4-2-3-1 if Pepe gets a start? I think it just depends how the game goes.
Do you know what? I think he'll start with a 4-2-3-1 and then say if ESR's on that bench, he will switch up to a 4-3-3, bringing ESR into the game. I mean, he did that in Norwich, and I really liked that. It was really good. It was just a different team. I mean, it's a glimpse of how he wants to play. But at this stage, I think that will work. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you think about it, G. But...
Yeah, I can see him switching it up. I can see him starting with a 4-3-3 potentially. I think he might. I'm not sure. I think he might start cautiously against this game. I don't want him to, but I have a feeling he might. I think he might just kind of suss and see what Brighton are like, see what kind of kind of gameplay they have. I really want Arsenal to kind of go for the jugular. I'd really want Arsenal to play, a real attacking side, 4-3-3, and just go for it. But I think it'll be really interesting to see what formation he does pick. And I think, the formations I think may even fluctuate throughout the game.
Exactly. I like it when he does that because that's when
I think that's the best way. Instead of going in with a rigid tactic, if it can just kind of fluctuate depending on the game and how the game's going, or even moments within the game itself and how the game's unfolding, I think that's probably a better philosophy to go for than a rigid one or the other. Matt Darrington, what do you think is going on with Martinelli? I reckon he is going to go on loan in January and be gone next summer. Now, this is an interesting one because obviously last season, we were crying out for Balogun to sign his new contract. And we really were hoping that he was going to be part of the first team outfit. Now, what is clear, he's playing tonight. I think he scored 2 goals. He's obviously doing bits for the under-23s. I think quite clearly, he's not part of Arteta's plans this season for the first team. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract, so he's not going anywhere. Chances are, as we know, Eddie's probably going to be gone in January. Lacazette is probably likely to have gone in January, if not at the end of the season. What is going on with Martinelli? Because even though he's returned from the Olympics, we've not seen him.
Do you know what? I think with him, it's a bit of a difficult one. I don't want him to go on loan because we will lose him. I've got a piece lined up on my blog about Balogun. He's the one who needs to go out on loan.
Yeah.
He's not going to get any first-time minutes. He's tied down to us. He's the one who needs to go. And we need to keep hold of him.
Agreed.
Because Balogun's a Hale End boy. He's got loyalty to us. End of story. Martinelli doesn't have that. As much as we all love him, he doesn't have that loyalty the Hale End do.
Yeah.
Because they obviously
Balogun literally could have gone to a host of teams this summer. And he literally signed his contract. So I agree. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see Balogun play the entire season in the under-23s. I really don't. I don't. You know, he's done that. You know, he's cleared that level. You know, the only reason why we were so keen on him signing his contract and actually staying at the club is because of what he's actually done at the under-23 level. So for me, staying there for the entire season and scoring, you know, goal after goal after goal is going to do nothing for his development. So I completely agree with you. I think of the two, Balogun needs to go out on loan, either to probably ideally a championship side, if not a low team in the Premier League. No, I think I can more see championship, but Martinelli, we need to kind of reintegrate him back into first team contention, because he's a top player potentially, but I just feel as though we don't really know his best position. And since his injury, I'm not sure if he's come back with the same oomph that he had before.
The thing is, he had that oomph towards the end of the season when you saw it in the Euros when we played the Olympiacos. You saw it. His energy is just something else. It's a bit, I hate to say it's a little bit brighter than Saka's at times. But it's just, I can't loan him. I don't want him to go on loan. We'll absolutely lose him. Because once he finds that first team position, it's like, I can play every week.
How many minutes does he honestly get now without Europe? How many minutes does he get?
He needs to be playing every cup game if we want to keep hold of him, put it that way.
But is he going to be satisfied with sitting on the bench every league game?
No, he's not. Obviously, he's going to have to come on as a sub at some point. I mean, we know, as I said earlier in the show, Smith Rowe's fragile. Saka, I don't want him burning out.
Rotation,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as we love this 19 and 20-year-old kids, they can't carry us.
Yeah,
our senior players need to step up to the plate, and we've seen
it's a long season. Yeah,
and it's that as well. I mean, we saw it towards the end of last season. Saka was just burnt out. How he went to England, I will never know.
Yeah, it's true.
We're still seeing the knock-on effect from him, and people saying, "Oh, he's not performing. He's not performing." He carried us last season. He went into the Euros, and he's still back after a month off. Are you crazy?
Yeah, the kid is it's true. It's true. I can definitely. I agree with you. I can definitely see Balogun going to a championship side, and I think Martinelli will be in and around the first team. But I think he will have to settle for, sub appearances until maybe he hits some form. Okay, well, thank you so much for that, Matt.
You was right. It's 3-0 to Arsenal against Brighton, and Balogun scored twice. One was a penalty.
There you go.
And then
that's what I mean. Like, he's proved. What's that?
Is it Mahand?
Salah.
Yeah.
He's some player, We'll talk about him another time, but he's some player. I've seen a lot of highlights of him.
As I said to you, I'm going to see the Arsenal ladies this season. I'm so excited. It's ridiculous.
No, that's good. Last comment here, Swara. I want to see Morpay getting bullied by our Arsenal defenders, and yes, I think we all want to see that.
Gabriel's going to put him in his test. Oh no, Kieran Tierney's going to put him in his Tesco bag.
We definitely need to see that. Definitely. So look, we've obviously, we've spoken about the importance of the game for Arteta, particularly, and Arsenal. We've, discussed the kind of ins and outs, tactics, players, etc., as well as obviously looked, through a potential lineup. So in terms of score predictions, so we do this thing on Untitled Chapter TV that we've got going this season. It's a score prediction league table. And, we all have our score predictions. So Stephen, myself, and Lottie will have our score predictions. And you get a correct point for the right score and a correct point for the right result. Now, every single week, whether we have a guest or we don't have a guest, if we do have a guest, we get a score prediction from them, obviously on the side of the fans and our viewers. And if we don't have a guest, I also contact somebody. So what I did today, just want to shout out the matchday.com, our official sponsor. obviously, thank you so much for the amazing prize that we gave away on the preview show, I believe it was, to the North London Derby. It was a signed Thierry Henry boot. So yeah, just want to big up the matchdayshop.com. An amazing prize. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully we'll get some prizes and do some more giveaways moving forward. But just want to big up our winner, who was at Swindon_Gooner. I had a little chat with him today via DM. His name's Rob. He did receive his prize earlier this week, and he did put a little tweet out. So I hope you are no, I know he's not watching. He said he was going to catch up with it tomorrow, but I hope you're enjoying your prize. So I took the time to just drop him a DM, congratulate him, and I thought, you know what, seeing as we're not getting a guest, you know, we might as well ask Rob. Obviously, he's our most recent winner with the giveaway. Call. Yeah, so
I actually completely forgot about that. That's a really good call.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd give him a shout, and really nice guy. We were messaging each other earlier, and he basically predicted that Arsenal would win the game 2-0. So I spoke to Stephen, even though he's not on tonight's show, and Stephen looked up the odds earlier. So what we do is we place a bet, a £1 bet for the 38 league games. For one of our fans, or what we'll say, we're fans or viewers or whatever it is, and basically the returns. If the returns, you know, win, if the bet's successful, that goes towards our charity, our designated charity, which is the air ambulance for Northern Ireland. Which, you know, Stephen, it's a charity that's really important to Stephen, and myself and Lottie are, you know, in support of that. So the returns for Arsenal to win 2-0 was 11-1. So Stephen's going to put on the bet for Rob. And if that comes back, or that bet comes in at 2-0, it'll be 12 quid that will be going straight into the pocket of the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance. So it will be going to a good cause. Now, Stephen, I spoke to Stephen earlier, and he went for Arsenal 3-1 win. Now, we can pick the same score. Obviously, can pick the same result. It doesn't matter, because the points are accumulated anyway, regardless of what scoreline or what result it is. Lottie, what are your thoughts with regards to this game?
Aaron Ramsdale, clean sheet, 3-0 Arsenal.
3-0 Arsenal, yeah? You're going big, and you're going confident, yeah?
I'm going cocky. I'm going to bite me on my ass.
Quality.
I'm big and I'm going confident.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's going to be a really tight game.
It's going to be a tight game, but...
And you know what? I don't think I've got a single score prediction right.
No, right. Do you know what? On the review show, we'll get Stephen to do an update, because I'm curious to how we're doing on the scoreboard.
Honestly, it's like
we guessed to beating me.
every single game that I think is going to be tight, we end up strolling or winning, and it's the opposite. So
your mantra, it's working. It's working.
Yeah, so I'm going to say it's going to be a tight game. I think there's only going to be a goal in it, and I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal. I honestly can't see it being a game of many goals. I think it's going to be tight, but I think we're going to have just enough going forward to get the victory. So I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal. What's that?
Ooh, I'm going to have a sneaky feeling Duffy's going to score for me and get me my FPL points. I won't be happy, but
yeah. Well, we've got some.
That makes sense.
We've got some score predictions. So yeah, keep them coming. Those of you who are still with us, still watching. We've got. Sorry, I'll just go back to this comment before we move to score predictions. Jay Gillian, Martinelli could be Gnabry Mark II if loaned out, and I think that's why Lottie is so adamant that she doesn't want him loaned out.
I don't even want Gnabry back.
Yeah,
I'm one of the very few who doesn't want him back. Once you're gone, I don't want you coming back through that door unless you are Thierry Henry.
And we will speak about that next with regard to Sanchez. Right, David, I'm going to go Brighton 1, Arsenal 3. So what Stephen said, that's another good shout. Matt is going with Rob at Swindon_Gooner 2-0. We've got Swarrett. 3-1 seems a popular scoreline for Arsenal this week. 2-1, but will be tough. Darren, mine.
That's a new name.
That's a new name. Good evening, Darren. Welcome to the show. 3-1. So again, 3-1. It's a very popular score.
Yeah.
Tom, I agree. I think Brighton will park the bus like in December, but we'll get a 1-0 win. Yeah, I think it's going to be really tight. I honestly do. And Jay Gillian, Uber bang, a hat trick, get me into the top 10. Haha, 3-0.
Yeah, Jamie's doing really well on the fantasy football. That's why he's saying that. Yeah, he even wound me up when we met up at Tottenham. So
yeah,
like, go away, leave me alone, because I've been doing really badly. I've been consistent though, that's for sure.
Yeah. Quality. Well, look, if you do have any more score predictions, keep them coming in, because we are going to round up the show in a couple of minutes. We've got a few more things to go through, and then we'll be calling it a night. Wheezy J, evening Wheezy again. 3-1 to the Goodness or Goodness. Obama blood clot Yang to score. And then Chris, good evening, Chris. Didn't know you was with us, but glad you are. 4-0 to the Arsenal. Wow, confident. Ooh, so you can see that. You can see the optimism and the confidence is flowing through the fan base, because these score predictions are really, really positive, considering Brighton are quite high up the table.
Do you know what? It's a case of it's a good time to be an Arsenal fan. I mean, I've been singing Tottenham gets battered in my head on the phone to students when I'm working with the college that I work for. Yeah. I almost actually sent it down the phone to someone when she was moaning at me about something, and I was like, nope, shut up. So yeah, everyone's feeling good. I mean, like, I think I started a chain of Saka and ESR's song the other night. Like, I did one line, and then the other accounts kept commenting on it. It was really good. It's just such a good vibe at the moment between Arsenal fans. I love it. Well, I might just be lucky, because my the guys that follow me are always really positive, and I quite enjoy it.
No, it's good. It's good.
Refrain, just keep scrolling past the negativity if it does pop up. So.
Definitely. Only just got on, as was on the tube, and you're on early. No problem at all, Chris. Glad you're here with us. But yeah, so obviously we want to come back to Tom's comment. One of our new viewers with regard to Sanchez. I know you was in the last stream watching us, and you've put in some comments in the chat. So I want to come back to that, because it wasn't really on topic at the time, but I do want to touch upon it. So there is a lot of, obviously, there are transfer rumors happening. We probably will touch upon this, once we get closer to January. But, we have seen some recent news with regards to Van der Beek with Manchester United, potentially on loan. I don't know if that's just fabricated by Arsenal fans, but, Tom did bring up the whole Sanchez potential free transfer in January. Like, what are you, I know we spoke about this in the last stream, but what are your kind of general thoughts with regard to Sanchez coming back in January? Because Stephen was really kind of in favour of this happening, which surprised me slightly. Yeah.
Actually, I asked both of you, didn't I? I didn't even say what I thought either. So, do you know what? Unless you're Thierry Henry, I never want to see you come back through that door again. Once you leave, you're gone. He left for greed. I don't care how talented he is. He left for greed. He was greedy. I mean, you saw the state of him when he went up there. He gave himself a skinhead.
Yeah.
He's got nice hair. Why would you do that? I know you're unhappy, but come on.
It's like he lost his mind.
Yeah, he did lose his mind up there. I mean, we've all seen the interview where he's gone, like, literally, I turned up for training there, and the first thing I did was I got back on the phone to my agent saying I want to go back to Arsenal. Yeah. Literally. He was just being greedy. I know he does a lot of charity work, but he's just greedy. And I don't want nothing to do with that ever again. It's the same situation with Jack, but with Jack, he wasn't greedy. He just wasn't fit enough all the time. That's why we sold him. He is Arsenal through and through. I remember being at the parades when he was off his trolley. And when we won the FA Cups, like the 12th, 13th and 14th one, he was off his trolley. At one point, Arsenal had to cut the media because he started singing... blank Tottenham Hotspur went to
I remember that.
I mean, it was just incredible. We kept going, of course, but it doesn't matter. Like, our fans around the world couldn't see it, and that's what really wasn't fair in my eyes from Arsenal. But they've got to keep it PG. He'll always be Arsenal through and through, but if he's going to come back, he's got to come back as coaching staff. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want him. He's too injury prone. Don't want pay as you play. No, thank you. If we were desperate enough for that midfield, maybe. Desperate, and I'm really desperate. Especially
I agree with you.
Party goes, I'd have him in a heartbeat. But at this point, no.
To be honest, with the whole Sanchez debate, for me, like I said in the last stream, I just feel as though, I completely agree with you in terms of his, the reasons why he left Arsenal. I completely agree with you. But for me, regardless of that, I just think, we've moved beyond that. And I just feel as though, in terms of the profile of the player that we're targeting, I just think he doesn't fit it. We're looking for players that, like you said, want to play for Arsenal. And I think, if we can give, the recruitment team credit where credit's due, is that the players they brought in, you can see what it means for those players to play for Arsenal. From Sambi to Miyasu to Ramsdale to Ben White to Tavares, you can see the passion and the privilege, what it means for them to put on that shirt. And I just think if we were to take on Sanchez, given his wages, given his age, I just think it would be a step in the wrong direction in terms of, and I think it kind of goes against everything that, from what I can see on the pitch and in recruitment, what Arteta and Edu are trying to do. It would almost be like a huge contradiction. Yeah, so I can't see it happening personally.
Gee, if you look back to when we had him, we built the team around him. We're not that team anymore. We've got the likes of Odegaard, Sambi, Harty, Saka and Smith Rowe have come through. Yeah. We've got a team. We're not relying on a one-man team.
Who do you drop? Who do you drop to play him?
None of them. I want to drop any of them. You wouldn't even make the bench. End of story.
Can you imagine Sanchez coming back and dropping ESR? Nah.
I'd actually go berserk. Like, a lot of this fan base would go berserk over it.
It's not right.
I wasn't fussed whether Odegaard came back or not, but he was a smart buy. Smart buy, and I'm happy with him. I'm happy with him.
It makes sense. It makes sense. No, definitely. Right, we'll go through some comments. We've got here Chris. Sanchez offers us nothing. He'll come back and want to be the main man, which I don't think is what we need. Exactly. And Tom, thank you for the original question. 100% agrees with Lottie. Chris again, he wanted the City move, only went to United for the money. Was clear he didn't want to be there because of how he played for them. Yeah.
He wasn't the star anymore. End of story.
Tom again, I was just shocked to read it, and some people thinking it was a good idea, but to me, no. Once you leave on bad terms, don't let the door hit you in your ass. So on the way out, our club is better than that. Yeah, and lastly, we've got Chris. What's that? Yeah, definitely more class.
The only person that can ever come back again is Henry, and that's if he comes out of retirement. I think that guy can still kick a ball. I don't care what anyone says. Even if Dennis Bergkamp came out of retirement and wanted to return, yep, come home. We'll have you. Yeah. Don't care how bad you play. I want you to come home.
And Chris here says the narrative now with our signings, bringing 23 to 25-year-olds that will develop into players for the future. Now the Sanchez or Wilshere fits that mold. And that's what I said. I said, I can't see it because I think it just goes against everything what Arteta and Edu and the hierarchy are trying to achieve with the squad. It just wouldn't actually make sense. Big up to Arsenal ladies, by the way. Looking forward to our trip to Wembley this year.
We're on our way. 100%. We beat Spurs 5-1 the other night. Tom, you might have noticed I was watching the end of the game on the BBC iPlayer when we had our Q&A. So I'm going to their game in November. I'm going to go to the West Ham game. And then the next day is the Watford game for the boys. So I'm looking forward to that weekend.
Nice.
Georgina's our number one fan. Georgina's just coming up from Cornwall as well. So it's going to be a really good weekend. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's the first time I'm going to see the ladies as well. So I think more than anything, I'm more excited to see Tobin Heath. Mate, she's a different gravy, as I said earlier. And not to be confused with onion gravy. Okay, Stephen? I know you're watching.
I can feel another poll coming on.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And we've got here, Tom. Oh, yeah. I see that you're going with George.
Yes, I go to the games. I go to a couple of games with George. Yeah. Quite a bit. And so definitely be going with George. And there's a few other people coming as well. It'll be good fun.
Brilliant. So that kind of like rounds up the show, really. Obviously, we're just going to kind of run through a couple of things before we kind of tune out. Yeah. Do we have an update? Well, not necessarily an update with regards to fantasy football, but when is the actual deadline? Do you know when it is? Is it past tonight or is it tomorrow?
No, it's not. It's tomorrow. Actually, I haven't given a table update. Let me just check who's in top spots at the moment.
Yeah, no problem.
At the moment, I'm down in 80th. Do you know where you're sitting in the table? I know you.
I have no idea. I think I was like 190 off 90th somewhere. I think
you've dropped down to 198 the last time I looked, and then I think Stephen's dropped down to 133. Stephen, if I'm wrong, I apologise. At the moment, Peter Williams is taking the top spot with 449 points, with Smoky Barbecue.
Okay,
I'm sorry, but we've got to pick some of the best names in the league at the end of the season.
When is the actual deadline for? Is it game week 7 now?
Game week 7. It's game week 7 this week, and the deadline for it is tomorrow at 11 a.m. because the first game kicks off at 12:30.
Okay,
so
cool.
it's 11 a.m. You need to finalize your teams. I will be reminding you an hour before, so I will. If hopefully I'll be out of my bed by then.
Yeah.
So I will be tweeting it. Keep an eye on my tweets if you're not sure. So 11 a.m. tomorrow, game week 7. Let the games begin, boys.
Wicked.
Stephen, G, I know you're watching, but G, catch me if you can, my love.
Oh, mate, right now it's looking impossible, man. But yeah, next I'm going to talk about obviously our subs challenge. Those of you who don't know, we had a subscription challenge at the beginning of the season, and it was for Stephen to, if we had hit, I think it was 500 subscribers.
That's 500.
Yeah, Stephen was going to bleach blonde his hair, but you know, we're growing, you know, slowly and organically, so we're not too fast. But we missed out on that one. So
yeah,
Stephen,
we're on the road to 400 now, aren't we, G?
I think we are, yeah. So we missed out on that one. The next sub challenge is basically if we can hit 1,000 subscribers by the 31st of December of this year, then I will bleach blonde my hair, beard, and not my eyebrows. No, I don't care what you're doing on screen, like it's not happening. And the actual best part of this whole subscription challenge is if we hit 2,000 subs for the beginning of next season. This is the biggie. This is the real big one. Then Lottie will be getting a tattoo. She keeps winding me up about my tattoo that I might be getting in 4 games. Well, look, if we get to 2,000 subscribers, please do. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Because I will have bleach blonde hair if we hit 1,000, and if we hit 2,000 next season, then Lottie will be getting a tattoo. And I know Stephen has some very marvelous ideas of what this tattoo could be, so it will be very interesting. I hope your mum's not watching again, is she?
No, she came in late. That's why she called me. She's bringing food home, so I've got food after this show. I'm happy.
Cool.
We're real good. Actually, she's coming. I can hear her in the kitchen. So
yeah, we're gonna round up now anyway.
no rushes. All right, mine's going straight in the oven so it stays warm.
No worries. And as you can see tonight, we are wearing our Cannon Chatter hoodie and t-shirts. Now, if you do want to get your hands on one of these, then obviously all the information is in the video description. I think you just got to email Stephen or DM one of us. To be honest, just DM one of us on Twitter, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction if you want to get hold of any Cannon Chatter merchandise. And I think that's about it. But we are going to run through our socials. I don't even know if I can remember where they are now. Would you be able to run through them for me, please, Lottie?
Yep. So if you want to find us on Facebook, obviously put Cannon Chatter into your search bar. It's the same with Instagram, but it's Cannon_Chatter. And then obviously we've just recently joined TikTok, which is fun. Yeah. We're going to be looking on to making some new content. I'm waiting for a crash course from Gunner King, because obviously he's absolutely ripping up the TikTok scene at the moment. It's good fun as well by the looks of things. So we're going to do some interesting, and G might embarrass his kids, but we'll see.
I might. We'll see.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, obviously our main account is @CannonChatter. If you want to follow Stephen, who's not here tonight, but we know who is watching, it's @SB Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow my co-host over here, sorry, it's opposite on the screen. It's @GTalksArsenal. If you want to follow me, it's Lottie_B, 2 T's and 2 I's, because the normal spelling was taken by someone else.
Yeah. And most importantly,
now, if you want to relive any part of the North London derby, my new blog is up. I've got pictures from where I was sitting. I've got a video if you just want to have a taste of the atmosphere where I was sitting in the clock end, where it's absolutely bouncing. I've got some new pieces coming up. I've got a piece on Balogun over the international break, and some analytical stuff coming up. So if you want to go check that out, it's lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. Or you can come and find me on the Fan Hub app, which is completely free. When you sign up, you will need a golden ticket code. If you want to jump the 500 plus people in that queue, drop me a DM and I will give you the code to get in. We need to get more Arsenal fans on there, because at the moment, Bournemouth and Swindon are sitting at the top. So please come and join the app. You can read my blogs from there as well. You can predict your teams, and you've also got the opportunity to win 3 pairs of tickets for any English Football League game. So please download the app on your Android or iPhone. And lastly, make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications, and hit that like button for us, just to get us in the algorithms. We love having you come back every time. We're here because of you guys.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've got some more comments here that we're going to run through before I let you know when we will be back. Let's see. Where are we?
I've just seen Chris's comment.
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm trying to ignore that one. I'm deep in trouble for FPO. David, trust me, join the club. I'm not in a good shape as it is. I don't know if I'm above you or you're above me. To be honest, I'm not really looking at the table at the moment. 176, I think, picked Lukaku, and he's been rubbish ever since.
Do you know what, Chris doesn't turn up at the big games? I think he's going to be up for it at Chelsea this weekend for Southampton.
Okay.
Oh,
Suarez, I'm at 88. That's a really good league position. I'll try to catch up with Lottie on the league table. Yeah. Where are you, Lottie?
He's 8 places behind me. I'm 80th at the moment. I'll be happy to finish the season in the top 50. I'll be happy with that. I don't care.
Chris, top 50 subscribe everyone so G can have a new hair color to add to his upcoming tattoo. I tell you, Chris.
Chris is on my side, partly.
Gary, good evening. Good evening, Gary. Joining late, but it's always lovely to have you, Gary. Good evening. Peter Miles, Arsenal Young Guns. Brighton 3-0. Arsenal battering everyone everywhere we go. New song for the Terraces. Yeah, that's another new name as well. So good evening, Peter, and welcome to the show. I don't know if this is your first viewing of our streams, but yeah, good to see you in the chat, mate. And Gary saying hello, chat room. Chris, Lottie's tattoo, 34 with a heart around it. David, thanks for the stream. Thank you, David, for tuning in. I did TikTok during lockdown, including a Freddie Mercury video. Nice. Oh, gotta see that.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, drop us a follow and we'll follow you back. I've got to go and check that out now. I need to see that.
Evening, the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Chris, eyebrows have to be done, G. Nah, I have to draw a line somewhere. I'm sorry.
Do you know what? I do love it when I do that. You just bite every time. I just want to do it. It's brilliant. No, I'm not bleaching my eyebrows. It's brilliant. Yeah. It works every single week.
David here, I'm in 122, but feels like I'm doing worse.
David, well, you know what? Like Stephen and G. Smile. It's a good time.
Trust me.
G. Sorry,
that's
G.
what I mean. Like, he's saying he's doing badly at 122. I think I'm below 200, so I need to do something.
No, you haven't gone that far yet. You're just above it. Oh, I mean, there's 220 people in our league at the moment.
It's not. You know what? I'm amazed by the numbers we actually got. You know, I'm actually amazed. So it's really, really good. So those of you who, are in there, thank you for obviously joining. And those of you who are not part of it, need to get in there next season, because obviously it's something we're going to be doing every season. In terms of our shows, so, this show has come to an end. Thank you so much for all of you that have tuned in, filled up the chat room and given us your kind of continued support. We are back on Monday, but before that, I just need to kind of do a quick plug with regards to our good friend Keith, which is at the Mad Rambling One, number one. So it's at the Mad Rambling One. That's Keith. He's a regular. He appears on our shows, been supporting us from day one. He is having his first live. He does a lot of pre-records, but he's doing his first live on Sunday, this weekend, Sunday at 9:00. Myself, Lottie, and Stephen will be appearing on his first show. So please do go and follow him. Like I said, it's at the Mad Rambling One. His name's Keith, and also his channel is called Mostly Arsenal. That's where the show will actually be streaming live from. So please do go over there. I think he'll be kind of talking all things Arsenal, with regards obviously the game against Brighton, and just kind of every other day life stuff as well. So it'll be some interesting kind of debate, content, etc. So please do tune in, look out for his tweets over the weekend, kind of advertising that. If you go to any one of our pages, you will see it. If you scroll down, I'll probably do a retweet out probably over the weekend, so do look out for that. But we will be back on Monday for our review of the Brighton game, and then I'm not sure what the plans are for next week. We do have some really good ideas because we do have an international break. We're not going to have a huge amount of content, but we will still be kind of on your screen. So do keep an eye out for what's coming up.
G, put it this way, we're going to have some fun.
We're going to have some fun.
I haven't told you guys yet, but we're going to have some fun. So guys, make sure you come back and we're going to have some fun. I promise you. Well, I think I'm going to have some fun anyway. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Whether you come back and join me is a different story.
wicked. But yeah, so obviously big game tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff. You know, if you can watch it, watch it. If you can't watch it, listen to it. If not, just follow Twitter, because I'm sure, you know, that will keep everybody up to date. Any last words, obviously, going into the weekend and obviously, you know, bringing the show to a close, Lottie?
Oof. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners. To end it. Come on, you Gunners. Well, look,
people... you get the last word.
Yeah, you know what?
Instead of Stephen today, it's your turn.
You know what? Bring on the game, bring on the victory, and then I guess it will be 3 games until I get my tattoo.